Hi, everyone. It's me, C Lefty Run. Hope your week is going well. I'm here to tell you about week 2 of my Boston Marathon training cycle. It's a 19-week plan. It's 19 weeks because the marathon is on a Monday. So it takes the plan into 19 weeks, but really it's 18 weeks. So I want to go over some things. For week 2, I ran 43 miles. And I don't know if I've shared my goals with you for this race. If I have, forgive me. You're going to hear them again. It's also Christmas Eve today, by the way. So I'm a Santa hat for you. Anyway, I have 3 goals for this race. My first goal is to just show up healthy, right? You want to show up to the start healthy. I don't want to have like an injury. I'm like questioning, like, am I going to make it all the way? How long before this injury starts to kick in? So that's number 1, is to show up healthy. Part of showing up healthy is, I think last time I told you, my doctor was like, oh, your thyroid's off. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I've been irritable. So she drew blood again and it came out normal. So I'm just irritable for no freaking reason. I was like, great. I thought there was a reason I was irritable. Turns out I just am. So whatever. I don't even know. Anyway, so at least I don't have to go through a medication shift, right? Because that wouldn't have been fun. And then, as you know, I've been trying to find someone who does art, active release therapy. I tried a woman who includes it as part of her massage. It was pretty good. Then I went to my old chiropractor's friend, $150. Can you believe it? And it was disappointing. Number 1, it was a bit of a drive. Number 2 is $150. So number 1, it was $150. Number 2 was a bit of a drive. Number 3, like he couldn't even crack me really, and then he did cupping, and then they did those recovery boots, and he did some things here and there, but I didn't feel like it was worth $150. I kind of think the boots are kind of a gimmicky thing. I'm not paying $150 to put those recovery boots on, those Nordic boots or whatever you call them. And then cupping, I'm like, does it work? Does it not? I don't know. But I'm not paying $150 for cupping. So it was disappointing. The search is still on. I did find someone else I'm going to try. I'm going to call and price them out, though. Worst case scenario, I can go to the massage woman. I think I'll be okay. So that's number 1 goal, is to show up healthy. And in order to show up healthy, I have to do all those things, right? Number 2, it's a world major, and I always call those dessert races. You enjoy them. They're like a celebratory race. So I'm not going to be like trying to hit it hard and no, I'm going to enjoy it. I want to look at people. I want to check out the scenery. I want to listen to the crowds. So I'm not going to try to race this and do really well, because when you are racing a marathon, it is hard to enjoy it because you're so focused. That's typically why, if I'm going to race a marathon, I like to do a smaller race where I'm not distracted by the scenery around me. Rebel races, I'm never distracted. It's very easy to focus in a rebel race. So I'm going to enjoy it. And number 3, I would like to requalify for Boston, which for me is a sub 350. So, but I'm not going to do that at the expense of joy. So the plan for me is to start the first half relatively conservatively, which is going to be difficult because the first half is downhill. And it starts to get real around mile 16 when the hills start to come in. So my strategy, and I don't even know if I can have music at the Boston Marathon or not. I remember New York, but that was in 2006. You could not have music. If I can have music, I'm not going to play it until the halfway mark. I have noticed in my training that when I put music on, my paces get faster. And I usually don't turn on music when I'm training until about the 5th mile. And I do that because, to kind of just take the time to warm up and not go out too fast. I'll listen to a podcast or something for 5 miles, and then I'll switch over to my playlist. So I'm going to use that same strategy at Boston if they allow me to listen to music. I don't know. I still have to look into it. So those are my 3 goals. So on Sunday, I ran 6 miles at a 9:40 pace. My heart rate was 142. I wore my Nike ZoomX Invincibles, I did some abs afterwards, 10 minutes of abs. Monday, I did 6 miles with Stephanie. Our pace was 9:42. My heart rate was 137. I ran those in the Saucony rides. Tuesday, I did some speed. This is my first shot at speed since the marathon, really. Maybe I did it last week. I can't really remember. I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be 6 by 800s. That was in my mind. And it was like marathon pace. I was like, that's nothing. It's going to be so easy. It wasn't easy. It turns out it was 8 by 800. So that kind of messed with me mentally. And I didn't notice it until I started the workout. I was like, oh gosh, it's 8 of them. And yeah, so it was 8 by 800 at marathon pace. And I wasn't very controlled for these 800s. And I took my taser with me, like in the mid-afternoon, that was bouncing around. Anyway, my first rep was a 7:42. Now, mind you, my pace is supposed to be like in, what is it? 7:54 to like 8:05. So I was like 7:42 for the first 800. And then I was like, whoa, girl, whoa, take it easy. So then I did 7:57, and then another 7:57, and then an 8, and then a 7:58, and then a 7:50. I don't know what happened here at 8:06, and then a 7:58. So I did pretty well. I will say that I did stop after the 6th rep. Because remember, I thought I was only going to do 6. And so that was mentally playing with me. So I did like take a brief breather after the 6th one. Did do a little walking recovery. And the recoveries were quick between them. I think it was like 0.10. So, and then so I did take a brief walking recovery. You're not supposed to walk, you're supposed to do jogging recovery. I don't know what difference it makes, but anyway, I didn't, I walked after the 6th one. And then I came home and I did Heather Robertson strength. So yeah, Wednesday I was off. Thursday I did 6 at a 9:50 pace. My heart rate was 138. And then I moved my long run to Friday. So my last day of work was Thursday. So I did my 11, it was a 10-mile run. I did 11, not because I was feeling like, woo, I feel great, I'm going to go one more. Like, no, that wasn't why I did 11. I'll tell you why I did 11. I did 11 because I wanted to do some hill repeats. And in my plan, it said like hill strides. I'm like, I didn't really describe what that was or what it looks like. It does later in the plan, but I don't know, maybe I was just supposed to test it out. Who knows? I didn't take it too seriously, but I do have a freeway overpass. And I was like, I'm going to run up and down that 8 times. So I got in about 10 hill reps, and they were about the last 1.5 miles of my run. So I finished the hill reps at like 10.5, because I was like, I got to finish. And when I got to mile 10, which is when I was supposed to stop, I wasn't done with the hills. So I was like, okay, I want to finish up. So I finished it and I was at like 10.5, and I cannot stop at 10.5. I'm like, well, I'm just going to go the last half mile. That's what I did. So that's why I got 11 miles in. And here were my reps for that. I wore my Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s, and I did a 9:33, a 9:12, 8:45, 8:36, 8:34, 8:49. I don't know what was happening at 8:49. 8:30. Oh, maybe I did a hill there. I did a hill repeat. Yeah, that's what I did. 8:32, 8:34. And here's where I started doing more hill repeats. I did the other 8 here, I think. So I did 8:47, 9:03, and then 8:29. So I like doing those like towards the end of the run. I did one in the middle and then at the end, and it's supposed to simulate, at Boston, they come at mile 16. So you kind of want to do them when you're like mentally done and when you're not fresh, because you're not going to be fresh when you hit them in Boston. So, and I had a gel at mile 5, that Precision Fuel with 30 grams of carbs. I did notice it has no sodium. So I'm going to start taking more frequently the Hammer electrolyte pills to help with the sodium. And then today, Saturday, Christmas Eve, I just did 6 easy in my Nike Zoom X Invincibles. Those are my recovery shoes. I ran a 9:43 and my heart rate was 139. So 43 miles for the week. I am trying to not take this portion like overly too seriously, because it's the holidays. I'm trying to enjoy, trying to like move things around a bit. I know I just came off a cycle, so I feel like I can be a bit casual right now. I'm going to get more serious, and I'm following the plan and doing everything I should do, but I just have a more relaxed approach. And I'm going to get real serious here after the new year. I am challenged though, because New Year's Day, we're going to go to Vegas for one night. And then we head to Brian Head, Utah for 4 nights to snowboard. I don't know if I've told you this or not already, but I'm like, do I even snowboard? I'm not a good snowboarder. I'm like, can get down the mountain. We only go once a year. Don't want to get injured. I'm really nervous about that. And I'm really nervous kind of about not being able to run or having a hard time finding where to run in Utah. I know I can run in Vegas on New Year's Day. I'll just use the hotel gym. And then the next day, the 2nd, I'll use the gym before we go to Brian Head. And if I'm not able to do it in Brian Head for whatever reason, it is what it is. It's not going to kill this 19-week cycle. I think I'll be all right. So I just have to, family time in this situation trumps training. Anyway, I hope you're having a Merry Christmas and you're not too hectic and crazy, and you don't lose focus of what's important through the busyness. So we get too wrapped up in the gift giving and the lines at the store. And I just wish, I'm like, can we just go to one gift? Like, even for my kids, I'm like, can we just do one gift? I mean, I'm one to talk, right? I put gifts under my tree. I'm like, wrap these gifts for me. But no, honestly, it's just like the hustle and bustle is like very unnecessary, I feel. But, it's our culture and you get sucked into it. I'm guilty of that. So anyway, it's nice to see you this Christmas Eve. Have a great one. And I will see you next week. I'll let you know how the week goes. Bye.